Oh, all right, welcome everyone. Welcome to part 3 of the 2020 Christmas special. This was, like I said, as in all the other parts, although we don't really have anybody here. For anyone tuning in later, this is going to be part 3 of my last ride of the Three Rivers set from 2005. Went out with a friend I knew from Amtrak to ride the Three Rivers. We're actually kind of past that part because there wasn't much one can do for photos on that. Although, no, we're just coming into Chicago right now. So today will be the remainder of the trip into Chicago. And I think then tomorrow is going to be what we did in Chicago, which wasn't a lot, and then back on the Capital Limited. So, we've done most of the Three Rivers-y things, but like I said, we're still we're picking back up at CP-ENGLEWOOD, where we're actually sort of going through a traffic jam of NS Power that had been waiting for the METRA morning rush to get over and done with, as I have here on this diagram. Just with the way things, I don't know what how stuff always went with who got priorities at crossings, but generally the METRA, the Rock Island Division crossing with the Pensy, the METRA had the final say. So at least during the morning rush. So last time we passed one stopped NS train. Here's a second stopped NS train. Notice the conductor's giving us, actually that would be the engineer's giving us a nice little wave there. Something I might have missed on my first lower resolution version of these photos. And I think there's going to be a third train parked there too. There you go. Yeah, that would be this guy. Though, let's see. Is he? Yeah, he's coming in waiting for the crossing. This is another example of the last bit of the C40-9W order for NS. We saw 9945 in primer before, and here we have 9826. I don't know exactly how long these were in primer or why they were in primer. I think that they were painting them at the Altoona at Altoona shops. They got some sort of discount from GE for doing that. But as you can see here, this is like a good 100 of them still in primer. I'm not sure if NS, either the paint shops are backed up or NS had a locomotive shortage. NS was transitioning off their this was their first order of wide cabs. They'd always been a standard cab shop, and I heard that the FRA made them go to safety, quote unquote safety cabs, but I don't know about that. There's nothing in the regulations that require them. Probably more like GE was just telling them to that no one else was ordering them. So although Englewood was not yet resignaled, it had lost its westbound signal bridge. This was pretty common in the before NS really started getting going on wide scale resignalings. A lot of the PR signal bridges were starting to have problems, and you'd see replacements in the onesies and twosies. This signal bridge in particular, the replacement would have some ramifications in the form of an Amtrak accident, where a Michigan train coming off the Michigan line, where I believe that the engineer mistook a red over yellow for medium approach, which it is in the some of the signal codes out west, which was actually a restricting. So he just went through it medium approach and then rammed into the back of an empty flat car. If this had been maintained as a PR position like gantry, this likely would not have happened. That was a good number of years after this. This is CP-ENGLEWOOD, not like CP-515 or anything. So we're back, we have one example of a proper named interlocking. Here we have the METRA crossing. This is no longer existing. Where is this on the overhead? This is all. So this specific location has been this crossing has been eliminated with one of the federally financed flyover projects. There's a number of these that are current, under an ongoing, sort of being worked up these days. They want to do the same thing at Western Ave and another couple ones here and there to eliminate these sort of highly congested crossings. Oops. This is one of the most, as you can see by that giant lineup of NS freights, this was one of the major hang-ups in the Chicago area. I've been trying to figure out who has control of this. I thought it was the METRA dispatcher, but this was saying it might be some sort of weird joint system. Yeah, like the dashed lines would be what the METRA dispatchers can control. But there were white periods in the morning where METRA had priority. And here we have the eastbound position lights. The two far ones on the right hand side there are coming out of the yard. This was around this time. I'm not sure about this time, but in the couple years in the earlier time, like 2002, when I would come out here, you still had the Conrail defect detectors that would tell you that it was, at some point in here you'd hit the Conrail Chicago, Illinois detector, which is always nice, especially if you were, in coach or something or couldn't see out very well. It was the thing that would announce that you'd arrived. For some reason, I remember arriving in Chicago at night, and that must have been when I took the Pennsylvanian. But I just can't quite remember. Why would I be arriving at Chicago at night? Here we have what I like to, what I always remember is CP-519, even though it's CP-518. In fact, I can see if I made that mistake many years ago. 509, Englewood, 519. Yeah, I don't know why I always thought this was CP-519. And once you get it in your head, it's hard to get out of there. This is the, I'll pull it up here. As you come into Chicago, the PR, it feels like a right-hand turn, but it's more like a 45-degree turn. You pass the first bunch of yards, and then you have the CP-519 here. This is where trains that are used to are on the old that are heading on the old central alignment would go up over through this Ashland Avenue yard and up past Brighton Park around the back to connect with whatever Chicago freight connections things are making. So either your intermodals would roll into this giant 47th Street intermodal complex. They'd keep going. You'd have another intermodal, or you could have run-through coming through the 21st Street crossing. Or you'd make a left-hand turn, and you'd head through the Ashland yard, which is sort of manifest freight. And then you'd head up and around the back via Brighton Park to connect with the Union Pacific or anyone else who's out there. But for some reason, even despite being a brand new, yeah, I'm not sure if this. Yeah, this was clearly done at least as early as '93. But for some reason, NS did re-signal this. I'm not sure exactly why. Probably a relay plant. As we can see, I did a post on how CPMG and some of the other 9093, 94, 95 interlockings were still relay based on Conrail. That's the 8E.-2 mast. Yeah, I'm really glad to be getting these photos out in a better resolution and such, because this was a big gap. This age and whatnot was a big gap. Here we have the 518 automatic, 519 automatic. This was eventually replaced. Conrail seemed to have taken this out, so there was no automatics between 518 and 21st Street. Where is this? Yeah, there's 21st Street. But at some point, NS did restore it as a cantilever. Of course, what else would it be? I'm assuming this was removed. What milepost is Englewood? Englewood is at hard to tell. 515. So in theory, I guess they could have had a signal. They could have 21st Street, and then this is the only intermediate, and then pumped straight through from 518 to 515. Now they would have needed at least one other signal bridge. So I don't know. There might not have been a big interlocking at 518. So when they put it in, that could have been a brand new plant, and they took this out thinking they no longer needed it, only to eventually have to restore it. Oh, that's not good. I gotta lost all my other file name things. Again, approaching 21st Street crossing, you're going to get more stuff held for the morning rush. This case, us or anything. So this BNSF run through Coltrane to the Powder River would have been having to make the left-hand turn past 21st Street and then get down on the Aurora Line, which in the morning would be chock full of commuter trains. So they're just holding him past 21st Street for all that stuff. So there's nothing that's blocking us at 21st. It's just no sense in having him tying up the drawbridge and the crossing just to wait at trying to get onto the Chicago, the Aurora sub. This is going to be a return trip of empties to the Powder River. Those Powder River coal trains were all over the place. For a good period of time. Between the sulfur dioxide emissions requirements of the early 90s and then all through the 2000s until we have the shale gas. Okay, here we go. Now, last time you saw the photos from later in the summer where 21st Street had either been fully closed or fully converted to electric point machines and all the other stuff. here. This is immediately before all that. You know, you can see them right there. The position light dwarfs there and there. This mast is actually still there. This is an exit signal onto the METRA line. So METRA Southwest service trains go through the 21st Street crossing, and then they're on their own little track for 3 miles between here and CP-518, and then it's through CP-518 and back onto its own tracks. It's just funny how that sort of works out. That how they have its little stretch of METRA operated track there for just the Southwest service trains, even though they could easily use the main lines there. I need to find the Chicago diagram. There it is. Oops, that's the timetable. I need the diagram. So that would be the 804N, 803N, and 806N signals. These are kind of aligned with the old lever numbers, but not really. There's a big gap in what went on here between the early 90s and then when they closed the tower around 2005. I think the tower is still open now. Again, I'm just not sure. So that's 806N and 803N. I don't know what I would have. I know that you didn't use good names back then. Yeah, here we go. That's strange. Yeah, I'm not sure that little dwarf is there. Because that mast I know is still there, so maybe they didn't replace it. That's sort of weird. Yeah, this is the 2010 diagram that I have. But yeah, I'm going to use the whatchamacallit numbers here because I'm pretty sure the tower was still open. So, because that diagram's from 2010. So that'd be there's three. See, it's like this weird mix of some of the signals are numbered are numbered properly. Other ones are not. So this is sort of strange. They did like this half-baked resignaling, but not complete. Sometimes you get this with the diagrams. They're half restored. Hold on, what? Yeah, don't worry about, hold on, flat crossings. Which post did you want to link to? Person in chat? Yeah. So once they did the sort of, I can try pulling this up real fast too. I hate to delay things, but I just wanted to show a quick. Let's see if I go all the way into Chicago. No, I just go to Englewood for that one. 2010. Yeah, so just like 6 months later, that the bracket had been altered to just two signals. The dwarfs had been replaced by these little like the searchlight LED searchlights. So this is right at the end of the the tower being opened. Sorry, I'm trying. Yeah, there's the Alton mast that's still there. That would be the 53 switch. All right, so I'm not gonna try to do a lot of lever numbering here because it's sort of unknown. That bracket probably went at the same time the bracket at CP-507 went in. They're doing something in with that. I think replacing it. I'm not sure. I think I saw a picture. It was pretty neat that I managed just through by complete accident caught 21st Street on both sides of its resignaling. This is right after they had transferred control of Clara Street in New Orleans to 21st. So I thought, oh wow, there's life for this tower yet, but apparently not. Here we have the 57 switch and the 55 something, A or B. Does it tell you? They're not going to tell me. And in theory, it would be B. Note the burner style, the Conrail burner style heating point heater hoods, or the covered point heaters. And here we have this is, yeah, so that's 55A or I can't see if that's an A or a 1, but yeah, this is, if 6 months later this would be redone with all the 8 prefix labels for the new resignaled Chicago terminal area. There's no hint of anything being different. It's just I roll through at this point in time, and then I roll through at a different point in time, and everything's changed. All in all, I guess I should be pretty happy about the coverage I got on that. So let's just go to the questions here. Oh yeah, it's if you just go to my if you know, hold on, it's in my latest blog thing. Hold on, I mean I'm not sure I have it necessarily handy. I have to hold on. I don't have the tab. Oh, here we go. Actually, I do have it handy, surprisingly enough. All right, there it is. it just has someone took some pictures of CPMG, the old relay hut in the inside the tower, and it just shows that MG was closed in like 94 or 95, and in the old racks you can see that Conrail was still using plug-in relay logic for everything. Alright, hold on. Yeah, because I'm out the back of the train. I don't actually get a good side or front view. 21st Street Tower. But hold on here. Oops. So this is interesting. Here is the apparently very infrequently used 49 to 7 connector from the PRR line or the Chicago line to the Illinois Central, whatever they want to call that corridor there. It's so infrequently used that the rail is not only rusty, you have one of the heater things like flopped over the rail there. It wouldn't cause, it's on the outside looking in, so it wouldn't necessarily lead to a derailment, but just shows you how infrequently the burner's on, though. I mean, the point here isn't working, though, but it's not used much. It's a 49 switch. I don't think we had to wait going through here at all. You never know. You frequently do, but this would be the 63. Yep. There's just something. I just love the pneumatic plants with little like pipelines running all over the place. The electric cables are just always buried. It's just the stuff's there like magic. By the way, that's the pylon for the orange line. Passes over at this point. So the orange line was also another good vehicle for getting pictures of 21st Street. Now there's a park right there. I need to get down there somehow, although there's not much really left to see. But it's the issue is that the park. Here we go. 21st Street crossing. There's 21st Street crossing. There's the new park. There's not a lot of great ways to get there. I mean, let's see. I guess I can get off that Cermak Chinatown. That's pretty close. I mean, there's nothing. The red line runs pretty. I mean, the orange line doesn't have any stops in there. Your nearest blue line. I went to Halstead once, but I don't know how I got there. I might have taken a METRA train out, but I'm not sure. I probably just walked all the way. Yeah, I just walked down from Roosevelt. Yeah, it's a bit of a hike to get out to any of these locations. But I think that Cermak Chinatown would be close enough for me to walk into the park. But there's not really a lot there. But you can get pretty close. Here we have the diamonds. Seems like half of these streams are just 21st Street over the last couple months. This would be the. That's the weird thing. That this derail isn't in the. It's not in this diagram. It is located in this thing here. But no, it's not even listed what switch it would be. They did some weird stuff with the lever logic. So this one listed 841. I'm assuming is based on that. They could have just done some, just mucking about with things. Just can't quite see what that's labeled. And that's all I'm going to get, too. So. I'll just call it the 41 derail. Or 51. Yeah, really not sure. They usually, I forget how they pair derails. All right, I'm having some dead air here, so I'll just. Side of 21st Street. Pretty sure the tower was in its last few months of operation. Don't know why they demolished it. Probably some sort of asbestos Superfund. No, they demolished it probably because they didn't want homeless people moving in there. Yeah, that's straight. So as you can see in this 93 diagram, the South Branch Bridge was its own interlocking with a mechanical machine. And its own, you're in restricted speed and there was nothing else. By this point, 21st Street was still open and it was signaled through all the way through the bridge. So they did do some modifications on the interlocking machine there to keep things going. So here we have the new. This was the indication that there was something afoot. This new signal. Not much I can really do with this. I'm probably going to keep the whole thing. Also, that's the Lumber Street signal for, and that's not the 21st Street. They wanted to keep the crossing free, so it became like a weird Berlin Wall no man's land between Lumber Street and 21st. Alright, yeah, that's level. I'm going to make the assumption that they extended the 44R signal. And that would be Lumber Street 5N. And then here we have the old Lumber Street signals and the new 21st Street signals. I think 801 and 802 S. 805 and 804 S, that's right. There we go. Five N plus 4N rear plus no. All right, there we go. So something that I think happened more then than now, and I don't know exactly why. Trains that arrived at a specific earliness would Y on the CBQ line before and then back into the station. So here we have us crossing over on the 54 and the 42 switches here at Amtrak Lumber Street. And then we're going to halt at Union Ave, Interlocking, or just short of it, and then back into Union Station. I mean, that's where the Y is, so they have to do it to some degree. I just haven't noticed them. I haven't been on a train that's done this in ages. Probably because it pissed people the heck off. Like, you're almost at your destination, and you got to do this weirdo backup move. Because, I mean, I did a bunch of long distance. Not like all the time, but I did a bunch of them. And every time I did it, we would always have to back into Union Station. And it was just always, like, demoralizing. Good news is This was actually the last automatic on the CBQ before they entered Amtrak territory. There was another one on the other side of this. So, and I have that available. Oops, come on. And the neat part, let's see. I have a better version of this. Probably 2013. There you go. The part here is that I could get a front view over the engine from the non-transition sleeper. And that would have been the... Here we go. Yeah, between then and now, they put in a temporary signal there. But it was not to be, and eventually got replaced by by the Vader masts. But I was like, oh, wow, they've kept the searchlights. Good for them. Nope. This is the milepost 001.4 signals on the original signal gantry. And Jefferson Street. Again, these were unceremoniously replaced, despite being very, very new. This was mid-90s. About the same time, about the same vintage as the ATSF San Bernardino stuff. I forgot to mention this on my thing of the last new signals. This would have been right up there with that San Bernardino sub-resignaling. Union Ave, I forget when exactly it closed, but it was sometime in the 90s. Or very, very late 80s. Yeah, here we go. It was a little hard to tell exactly where Jefferson Street interlocking and the Union Ave interlockings were. Oops. But being able to be in, but this being able to get this shot was pretty nice. I can't again. I had to have been an AM fleet. Here we have the Amtrak operations tower. That's not an interlocking tower. It's just for their yard ops. I think they call it like the glass house or something. And here are re-entering Amtrak territory from BNSF. And this would be the 3N at a medium clear. And also at this time, this is before they made the switch from speed signaling to route, since all their routes are pretty much 15 mile an hour or whatever it was. They just went with a diverging, a simple whatever it was. 3N. This mast is still here as it is. Okay, that's it for second round. Let's see if we got any questions. Questions. What's the point of the equipment for the training people? Yeah. They always had padding at Washington. So if the train came in either on or ahead of schedule, The schedule called for them to loop the train and then drop the people off. So in theory, you weren't arriving any later, but the whole process took like 5 or 10 extra minutes, and everybody was always just like, it was just more aggravating, you know, because even if you're coming in on time, you're like, why am I? It's like when the plane takes forever to taxi to the terminal. But instead of taxiing directly to the terminal, it would go and, you know, do something weird that took extra 10 minutes. The better analogy is like when you're waiting for people to like to slowly file off a plane after it arrives at the gate. You know that feeling where you're just like angry and but you know that there's not much you can do about it because it's not like anything is specifically going wrong. It's the situation is wrong. That's what those Y moves always felt like. So here we are. The crew, again, this is because I was with an Amtrak guy. The crew was nice enough to let me shoot over the shoulder for the backup move. They usually do this on the Capital Limited equipment, you know, the Superliner equipment. But you know, this was in something with a vestibule. The neat bit here is, wow, look at this. We have 4 of the 5 signals heading into Union Station are displaying a clear at CP Roosevelt. That's a neat catch. Even though I didn't get a great shot of this. That's pretty cool. And those signals would be the 2N, 3N, 4N, and 5N. I forget how I do this. Oh, crap, I need to mark that this is Chicago Union Station for the interlockings. Kind of forgot that. There you go. Do I put a CP in there or not? Yeah, I am. Well, actually, no. I'm not going to put a CP because this is sort of pre the resignaling. All this was controlled from Lake Street, so I'm not sure if this is all considered Lake Street interlocking. Until very recently, it was all just sort of location 1, location 2, location 3, and 21st Street. So 21st Street and then everything else was a location off of, so this was Lake Street, Washington, Jackson, and I don't know what they did with the rest of this stuff. I guess it was all Jackson, location 1, 2, and 3, and then they broke it out into Jackson, Roosevelt, and Lumber Street. But this, I guess this would have been all Jackson. I thought Lumber Street was its own tower, though. Probably should just CP it. And then we have the little bit of a closer shot. All right. This is the famed Roosevelt Avenue overpass. Oops. I mean, in this specific situation, I wasn't any big hurry, but other times where I'd been in coach, especially when you're in coach, or you're just done for the day, you just want to get off. I can't remember the amount of times I went to Chicago. There was a couple back in the film era, but I just can't remember them. Yeah, this is a nice shot coming in here. When is this timetable? 2005. Yeah, this has all the CPs. CP Lake, Washington, Matt, all that stuff. Taylor Street, Roosevelt. So I don't know why this 2010 diagram only lists Jackson in 5 locations, while this one has all the CP Roosevelt, Taylor, Harrison Street, Jackson. So less I had some of these in the last one. Let me just see what I called that whole complex there. 5 St. Louis. Okay. Oh shoot! I should have, mentioned the signal bridge there. If I can pull that up. Yeah. So while we had 4 clear signals heading in at Roosevelt, it's going to narrow down significantly here at Taylor Street to 3 approaches and an approach slow. Entering the overbuild. This is where the new post office facility went, and you can still see it's all the position light, the CPLs. At the time, Amtrak sort of liked these because they were still position-y, but also color. They had the whole color position thing going on for a while. Also, it is clearly snowing. Very nice Chicago weather here. Yeah, I used to do a lot of stuff in the January time frame because that's when I was always off from school. So this will be CP Harrison with a clear signal on not the 0 track, probably 3N, 4N, 5N, 6N. 3N, 4N, 5N, 6N. No, that's the 2N is the first one. 2N, 3N, 4N, 5N, and then there's 6, I think, right there with 0. Great, I've got to go look that up again. Yeah, everything coming in from the signal bridge is fine. So 1, yeah, 1N, 2N, 3N, clear. Oops. The funny part is that little guy is still there. That's like one of the last dwarfs because it has the extra indications for approach diverging. And that should... Oh, no, I got one more that probably got cut. Whatever, I'm going to still go for it. You can see the express platforms there, the raised ones. Most of Chicago Union Station is, of course, lower level. Those are directly for the post office, where they would handle up the material handling cars. For those of you who forgot, Amtrak stopped hauling mail because in most cases, not here, the Amtrak, the Postal Service wanted the carriers that would do because the post office at a lot of locations had to go pick it up at the Amtrak station. They didn't want that, and Amtrak didn't want to have to deal with trucking. And that was part of their general retreat from freight anyway. All right, here we go. I'm going to do a quick check on the questions here. Wiring equipment. Oh, shoot. All right, sorry about that. Hope it wasn't too long. Don't know what does that. All right, so this is my one activity for the day was to head out on the Aurora Line, all the way, do a round trip out to Aurora. Now, I have a bonus set of photos that my friend took on the head end. Now, I'm free to use those. I just never have, and they're all film. But but he had them scanned, fairly well. So I'm going to go and deal with that at that point. But right now, I need to deal with what I specifically need to deal with is these tinted METRA pictures out a side window. That's always challenging. But there it goes. You can usually get it with color adjust. That's the one. METRA tint is you can get rid of with a color correct pretty easily. Just got to find the right setting. Usually make it cooler counterintuitively and remove green because they're those weirdo green things. Here we have a BN Jeep at Cicero. And what I called Cicero Tower, but I actually don't know what it is or was. Let's see if my little tower page can tell me. Now I know that one, which I think got demolished. Now that's the only Cicero I have, so yeah, I'll try to avoid that. Yeah, there we go. That worked. Less red for the. It worked for the getting rid of the METRA tint. So you go for cooler, and then there's a second slider for more green or more purple, and you add more purple. That gets rid of the green. I got to figure out what tower that is one of these days. Yeah, and then I had nothing to do in the METRA thing because I was stuck with no window to take pictures out of. Now, what I should have done was, I think I had access to a rear-facing window. Oh, that was the dumbness. So my friend went and I wanted to lock in a rear-facing window or sit somewhere. My friend sort of vanished, and he got a cab ride, and apparently if I just sort of followed him, I could have gotten one too, so that sucks. But he got the pictures, so that's fine. Actually, I mean, I think it was more of a strategic decision that he wanted to go, he was going to try to get a cab ride, because, he had the Amtrak thing, and sometimes, it all depends on the crew courtesy. And I basically said, like, all right, you go. I don't want to be like, if we're both asking, he might say no, and I'm not here to be a pain to you, so you go ask, and you can take your head, because he really wanted to get head-end shots on this line, and I didn't want to get in his way. And at some point, he didn't come back, so I figured he was in the cab, but there wasn't much because the train was already moving. I mean, it was already en route, so I couldn't really run up there. It turns out that the guy would have been cool with me riding, but there was just no way to know that ahead of time. And these were BNSF crews. They run it out of contract. Oh, I always forget how to spell Aurora. Yeah, I missed out on another cab ride once in a worse situation. I forget which. I don't think it was this trip, although it might have been. I was getting a cab ride on a Keystone or something out to Altoona, and an FRA guy showed up, and I had to bail out before he got there. Like, we were both in the cab, and someone up in 30th Street said there was an FRA inspector, and like we just like booked it out of the cab. And then he showed up for a ride along and rode all the way to Harrisburg. That really sucked. Because I was in the cab, I had like the safety goggles on, and I was ready to go, and then like worst luck, absolute worst luck. I've had good luck with tower visits and bad luck with cab rides. Really, the only cab rides I've ever gotten are on MUs and SEPTA territory, and that hasn't happened any time recently. Oh yeah, I need to know how to spell Aurora. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I totally forgot about the cab ride. I do have the photos handy here. I don't really want to delay stuff much longer, but since we're here, I can try to pull them out real quick. Just do a quick run through for people who are looking fast. Where are those? It's not that. Yeah, this is them. Yeah, so these are all like scanned in rolls, and you can tell they're film. There's the which said Cicero Tower that was eventually demolished. Yeah, so he got a lot of, there was a lot of good stuff that day, but also I had very limited ability to even take pictures up there because I used every bit of memory I had on my 3 64 megabyte flash cards for this entire trip. Huh, these are ones that he did. I guess he was with me with the film camera, because these are the same pictures I just had just from my friend's DSLR film. So there you go. I should come back and do another bonus bunch on these. You can see this whole trip again, just from another point of view. But we'll deal with that in a little bit. I mean, at another time. So, I mean, it would have been neat as an experience, but I don't know how much I would have been able to do from a photo point of view. Or if I took photos on this, I wouldn't have had stuff for the Cumberland sub later. So that would be the sort of Faustian bargain. Ultimately, I ultimately needed photos more on the BNSF route than the Cumberland sub, so it would have been worth it. But I didn't know that at the time. Some passing freight on the BNSF viaduct. This is one of the many BNSF C40-9Ws. They went on the same. They did the same thing NS did with the DC versions. Plus, what is that? 1008. So we have West Hill Yard interlocking. Let me double check what the name on this one is, because I did back in 2014, I think. I did an Aurora run. There it is. Yeah, and by 2014, they were already resignaling a lot of stuff. Chicago Sub Hill West. Yeah, it's a great that tower website's great. I'm gonna plug it again on my blog. I thought it was largely static. I mean, this is old news, but I thought it was largely a static collection. And then I found out that the guy was actively updating it daily. I didn't even see the update pages. So I mean, I sent him all of my tower collections to slowly add to the site, which all of you might have noticed. But I just want to announce on my site that just because other people might not be aware that it's updated very, very frequently now. Sorry for the long stuff here. I'll see if I can get this done in a hurry. One more set, and we will be good to go. I hope it doesn't run too much into the... Good, it's not going to run into the other stuff. Oh, gosh, I need to figure out which track is which. That's track 1. Yeah, I don't need any cuts on this. There's nothing I can cut off it. Incidentally, I had a really great day today. Definitely check out this YouTube channel later in the week. Not only when I get all these backlogged streams, fully done up. I have a great video today from the Pattenberg Tunnel where I got a perfectly timed meet between NS trains on the passing siding there, as in one cleared up and then the other one appeared immediately. So it was a really neat one take wonder. Kind of one take. One SL mass. There we go. Oops. Nah, I need more brightness there. There it goes. $29.73. This is $29.73 is likely a GP35 or 39R. What they did, what BNSF did was, they went to a lot of their GP30s and GP35s and upgraded the 567D engines to a 640 with 645 power assemblies to make the equivalent of a GP38, and eliminating the turbo. Those 567 turbos in the 30 and the 567D turbos were apparently just not super reliable, and parts have become nearly unattainable. But there are a bunch of museums out there that either have static displays or actively running 30s and 35s or SD24s with the running turbo. 2973. I wonder what this unit is. Was that 2973? So this is GP39-2. Oh, it's not on the roster anymore. 2973. What happened to it? Yeah, GP39V. There it is in 2005. 2002. 2008. 9. 10. Looks like last time it was spotted was 2011. So something happened to it. Yeah, this was a GP39, GP35 rebuild. Oops. Sorry about that. Here we have 205. What did, I guess 205 pulled in, went to the yard, and then came back. So, there you go. Don't know why, just did. Guess the crew need to get off and take care of business. These are the last batch of the F40PHs. It's like F40PH M-2M or something, or M-2. They have the modified cab. They were made by, I'm pretty sure they were made by, no wait. I was going to say they're made by MK, but I'm not actually sure. So these are built new like this. METRA is a very EMD shop. And that's why they're getting the new SD70Hs or whatever they are, for the the converted freight engine, 6-axle freight for engines for passenger power. Should actually work really good with METRA. They need the tractive effort for their long trains and needing the acceleration. I mean, ask most people and they'll say they need to electrify. I won't disagree with that. But just given what the routes and stuff are there. I do have a Wikipedia page open somewhere. That'll let you know what the METRA ones are, I think. F40PHM-2. And the question is who made them? No, they were... I think that they were... yeah, they were METRA. I mean, sorry, EMD. So that's surprising. It looked like something MK would have done. Oh, here we go. This is interesting. Right now, METRA uses, I mean, they have a whole mix of cab cars and stuff, but they pretty much don't use any of their old school cab cars. They only use the new Nipponcharo ones for leading. The other ones, I'm not even sure most of them are deactivated cab cars, so they don't count as locomotives. That's just because the older stuff doesn't meet whatever. I mean, I don't think that they're required to by the FRA. They just choose not to use them. What's going on here? Oh, that's the problem. They just choose not to use them for the front because they have plenty of cab cars. So, but here we have back in 2005, this is a Bud-built cab car. If I go to a METRA roster here. Oops. Yeah, where's their coaches? Yeah, number 800, coach/cab, built in 1973 by Bud. So it's not one of the really, really old ones, but it's still pretty neat. It's also nice that they used to, hold on, what's going on here? Oh, thank you, Jessica, for finding what happened in 2973. As I explained yesterday, not criticizing you for not being around yesterday. I'm just noting that I did talk about it in my last stream. The issue was the Fort Wayne line. The Fort Wayne line was in terrible condition. It was one of those situations where at some point the Speary truck or the FRA or someone ran down it, and it just had so many defects that. So, I mean, Conrail had always been, as soon as Conrail had eventually gotten its act together and was shipping most of the freight, just like NS does today, Pittsburgh, Alliance, Cleveland, Chicago on the Chicago line. Fort Wayne line was had always been declining in importance, and it got to the point where it was mostly DTC territory with interlockings only at the diamonds, running it. At the time, you could do 70 miles an hour on that. But in the mid-90s, the Broadway, that line, Conrail did not have any reason to invest in it. It just kept getting slower and slower, and eventually it just got so many slow orders that the line was just screwed. So they kept the train, but they just moved it onto the B&O. But for whatever reason, truth in advertising, I don't know. They renamed it the Three Rivers instead of the Broadway Limited, and it was simply a reroute of the Broadway. From one to the other. It wasn't a money issue in 1995. What was a money issue was in 2005. That's where they cut the whole thing. Kind of. Yeah, it was both money and a lack of sleepers for it. I'm assuming this is 805, but I can't quite tell. Yeah, this is 805 inside. One thing that METRA stole. The METRA run trains tend to block off the front cab cars. The UP ones, they don't care. for those of you who don't know gallery cars, what makes them special is that you have the conductor can collect tickets on both levels. It also gives you the equivalent of 3-3 seating, and it's probably very useful in today's pandemic environment. Unfortunately, with Nip and Shero sort of exiting the zone here, you're going to get more split levels. Okay. Whoops. Kind of screwed that up. Huh. What happened there? Yeah, you can see the little doors into the cab compartment there. Yeah, that's the non-cab end. All right, next. And that's what's worth the price of admission on METRA. The when you can get them, the railfan window on the gallery cars. That's what I'm really hoping that that they can find some other maker to keep this design concept going. So here we have Amtrak Lake Street Tower. At the time, this not only had a model, it was being phased out, but this not only had a Model 14 machine for the north end of the station. Ever since they closed Jackson Street, this had a big NX panel for the south end of the station too. I covered this again on my blog, my signaling blog. At some point after this, all control was transferred to a dispatching office inside Union Station. Amtrak saved money by recruiting former ticket takers that weren't necessarily needed as much with all the online ticket purchasing into what they would term train directors. Probably because they could pay them with Amtrak's collective bargaining agreement. They probably got to pay them less than a train dispatcher. And honestly, for the Chicago terminal, you really don't need. You need more operator. You need more like people. They probably have one dispatcher or chief dispatcher running the whole terminal, and then everything else is 3 or 4. Two to 4 train directors at any time. So anyway, here's just a wonderful picture of Lake Street Tower. And I've got a story that goes along with this as soon as I can just dig it out real quick. Oops. So, the interesting story I have, and this is Lake Street had already been undergoing resignaling. This was now, I think, known as CP Canal or something. Or no, it's CP something else. Let's check the thing. Lake, yeah, that's Canal. So my Amtrak friend, he wanted to get out. He wanted to go and just see what they were doing up there. So he went in and also get some pictures inside the tower. So he goes, we go up there and we walk down that access road to get into Lake Street. And he goes in, and I'm just waiting, and it's cold and snowy. And I think he also said he had to use the restroom or something. And eventually, where is it? That's the 501 signal. That's CP Canal. Eventually, I have no idea where he went. And I kind of want to get into the tower, because I sort of was angling for him to, get me up there. I just go up. And I think some people were like, who are you? And I was just I'm looking for my friend. I didn't get any pictures when I was up there, but I just sort of, there was nothing really stopping you from going up. That's 511. I want to try to square this, but I'm not sure how. This is the last picture of the day. I'll be back for photos and questions in just a second. Make sure that none of the pictures are gone. We good? We good? Okay, 1 second. I'll be right there. Just checking to make sure I didn't screw things up again. Oh, it's not 5N. It's something else. It's 501N. Okie doke. So let's see. We have questions. Sorry for the length of time. Broadway Limited. Blah blah. So the 1995 cuts were to different things. The Gulf Breeze got cut. So the reckoning in 1995 was a couple, like Amtrak. It was more like a shift in 95. Amtrak had to get rid of its heritage fleet. That's what was timing out. They didn't have enough. They had to sort of, the heritage single level stuff was gone. They got a bunch of new superliners, and they sort of just had to figure out what could they keep running. Part of it was they got rid of the Desert Wind, that sort of weird Vegas train. They turned the Zephyr into 7 days a week, and got rid of that Vegas, Chicago to LA via Denver train. The Gulf Breeze also went. That was the thing that split off the Crescent to Mobile. We're talking 95 here. The Broadway was a big East Coast, was a big consumer of East Coast heritage cars, and the Fort Wayne line was junk. So what they did was the Three Rivers did not have the number of cars and amenities that the Broadway did. It had one 10-6 diner, sleeper, no dining car, and usually only ran with a couple of coaches. This was back when the Pennsylvanian was doing its weird thing with like one cafe, one Horizon, and 20 express cars. The Pennsylvania was running at weird times. Like the Three Rivers would run that today's Pennsylvanian slot, and it would get to Pittsburgh at like 8, and then I think that it would sort of run the Pennsylvanian slot or later. I can't quite remember. I do remember the Pennsylvanian, something was running with 2 cars, and I think that was the Pennsylvania. And that was the really weird one. The Three Rivers was kind of taking the thing that the Pennsylvanian did between Philly and Pittsburgh, and then it just kept going to Chicago. Both of them went all the way to Chicago. That was like a weird time for Amtrak. And they could have rail sales. I remember I got a Pennsylvanian trip, a ticket. Just this is at some point Congress had told them they couldn't discount tickets this much, but I got a ticket for $12 from Philly to Cleveland. All sorts of fun stuff. So, yeah. So I said, just to wrap up again, major thing in '95 was the switch from heritage equipment on the single to the Superliner 2s, and they just didn't have enough equipment to keep everything sort of going, and Congress was always like, get rid of this, get rid of that. But they really didn't get rid of the Broadway. They just sort of moved it and downgraded it a little bit. So anyway, that's what I got. Sorry for the thing. I better get going here. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Throw in your last questions, and tomorrow we're going to be heading on the Capital Limited. In fact, the next. Hold on. Let me get rid of these last couple pictures here. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, in fact, the next picture, the very next picture picks up in Toledo. Let me just give you a quick, I closed a bunch of those windows too fast. Let me just show you one neat thing here. Like I said, that Lake Street. Let me just show you I'll throw it up on the screen real fast. Oh, gosh. Bailey. 3. Here you go. Yeah, so this is the giant NX panel that they had. So here there was the Model 14 had a few levers in service. It was slowly being replaced by this panel, and then the rest of the tower had this massive NX board for the rest of the interlock, the rest of the station complex. Really neat. I think I did a bit on it in a couple of my blog posts, but anyway, I'll see you folks tomorrow, and make sure you keep an eye on my my thing next week for the videos I got today. No, I don't. I'm not doing any of the train sim stuff, but I might get into it eventually. I've got too much work going on playing getting the actual photos and things going on to do make believe. But I think there's a lot of. I'm very heartened. A lot of the reason I take all the photos I do is because I feel at some point I'll be able to throw it into VR, into some sort of VR thing, and like I said, people will be able to go and experience it. Not as quite as like I did, but they'll get a good feel of these old, going out to these places with all the 1940s stuff still around. So, all right, I'm going to head out. Thank you so much for joining me, and look for me tomorrow, and we're going to get right on that Capital Limited, and we're going to get past Cumberland a little bit to Magnolia. So, that's on track tomorrow, and then tomorrow's Sunday, and then we got one more part 5 on Monday to Tuesday. All right, and anyone who wants, I know we had one person who can't make it, but the Septimid winter trip is still on Monday. Nice weather, 49 degrees. So hopefully, if anyone's in the Philly area, come on out and get your steps in. All right, see ya.